Jared. It is February 1st, 2023. So we've made it through our first month of 2023. Obviously, congratulations if you're still here. And it's been an interesting month. I think as we kind of prep for today, worth kind of mentioning some of the overall monthly performance that we've been seeing across the marketplace as a whole, and also just what types of leadership we've been seeing. It's so important for us as traders to not only find what is moving with conviction, so that we can engage and basically have trades that have a high probability of continuation or success, but additionally, just not to fight those particular areas of the market, especially at poor timing. Usually some of the worst trade decisions that I can think of for myself is either fighting trends, typically thinking that my particular swing high or low is so important that it must come back and it must recover, along with the simple idea that I'm looking at a marketplace that's obviously moving the opposite way. And there's a little bit of FOMO aspect to it. Sort of, if you're not long, then you must be short, or vice versa. And you can feel types of sector rotation can drive that behavior, especially as certain market participants saw the relative weakness last year. It can be a little disheartening to see how resilient markets can be, and really just not to be as engaged as you want to be. But the key here is that things are shaking and moving underneath us, and as traders, we just want to find where best to kind of take advantage of those opportunities. So as we look at the normalized market performance and just the sector performance, as we mentioned before, there's been a major recovery drive towards a lot of the risk on and more cyclical type sectors, discretionaries, communications, which actually was the leader. Discretionaries kind of picked up a little bit of relative performance with some of the movement in Tesla and Amazon. Real estate and technology, just these sort of consumer focused and highly cyclical, often growth oriented, and usually indicative of a stronger economic condition. And then of course the breakdown as we move down the list is somewhat these are also relatively cyclical, but they have different drivers for outperformance. Oftentimes we talk about spreads in interest rates driving financials. We talk about, once again, sort of the economic restructure or just building throughout a government. It's not quite what I wanted to say, but industrials kind of drive towards that. And then energy, which interesting to see how the previous year's leadership is performing in the first month. Still seeing some gains. We've got some earnings out from Chevron and Exxon. So Chevron and Exxon represent a large portion of the energy sector, but a lot of the refiners are also kind of keeping up that strength. Valero, some of the oil and gas exploration companies are actually quite strong. And in total, not necessarily beating S&P performance, but keeping up, not necessarily a weak sector as of yet. And then, of course, all of our defensives at the bottom, these have been essentially built into a position of previous strength from last year. Their pullbacks are relatively notable, but overall not really seeing the clear signs that these are bearish quite yet. And be on the lookout for these to maybe change their characteristic depending on what happens today. We'll obviously talk about the FOMC and the impact that it could have. But one thing you might hear or you might have heard throughout your investing career is January's performance can kind of drive some of the perception of the rest of the year. And as we look back historically, there are a few examples of a previous year having a drawdown. Usually the S&P somewhere between 10 to 25% drawdown on a previous year. And then coming into the subsequent year, if January does stand out as a recovery month, basically seeing anywhere from 3 to 5% upside, this particular month actually higher at about 6.7%. Usually, from a historical perspective, those are indicative of bullish years for the marketplace. And what that means is, once again, not necessarily just looking at the previous all-time highs, but questioning whether we're going to stay above our yearly close. And that's kind of why, as you've seen on my charts, I've kept this particular price level marked, because it's essentially a line in the sand of what does the S&P's performance indicate this year. And as we can tell, the first month has been, for the most part, bullish. We've seen obviously some pullbacks and a little bit of shakeout here and there, but all in all, that structure of the trend still remains. And therefore, the bulls technically still have the price. The question is, what's up and coming, and what are we preparing for as of today? So very interesting to review. Probably some surprises here for a lot of the 2022 traders. This is often why I look towards sector rotation as sort of a opportunistic risk and reward type of game, because if you look at last 3 months and look at how communication had positioned itself into last year, most of the gains are coming from this previous month. Over a 3-month period, communication still has about a 15% performance, which means for 2 months, it was essentially flat. And you can kind of see that as you look at a chart. Not only is this a sector that is, kind of beaten down, but for the most part, it was boring over the past couple of months leading into 2023. That boring phase can often be somewhat described as a period of sort of silent accumulation. Usually smarter money tries to use these periods to gain positions that are not necessarily increasing the price, but are often going to be finding themselves, building something around a key range. And while I mark these levels a little bit after the fact, you can tell how obvious this range is and what's going on now. It's a very clear sort of low to high transition. We sort of jumped the creek in the Wyckoff terminology. That transition led to a breakout, and that breakout showcased a last line of supply, basically the last area for the opposite side of the market to get out and for new bulls to engage in the expansion. So these are just range concepts in general, but as a range trader, you can also tell that there was something coming in this particular area, both based on the strength of the rally, but also based on the types of levels that are being breached. The fact that we're clearing an area that could have been deemed as accumulation, but needed the proving of the breakout to sort of indicate that something was changing. And this is kind of what's been driving a lot of our strength as of late. We talk about just clearing some key milestones, getting over things like our moving averages, and starting to see a little bit more signs of a corrective trend starting to build, obviously rebuilding what happened last year and talking through the idea that this could be a much stronger reversal as we move forward. So as we look at this and as we prepare for today, there's a couple things that are worth mentioning for volatility purposes. So first things first, where are we on the week? From the SPX perspective, we're essentially flat. Yesterday and the day before were essentially engulfing style days, but where we've ended is essentially where we closed last week. So the SPX, barring a couple of points to the upside on yesterday's afternoon, really hasn't gone anywhere. We're flat from last week. What this means is the weekly expected move is still a major focus for some of the upside and downside targets, depending on how we respond to not only today's FOMC announcement, but also the remaining earnings that are still going to be high impact for the market. So the question then becomes, how much volatility is left for this week? We've had a couple of trading sessions. Are we still expecting, given that we're at the same price, about a $94 expected move? If I look at the weekly expected move, it's gone down a little bit, roughly 10 points in the SPX, which simply means that, these upper and lower boundaries might be tested, but all in all, the weekly expected move is a little bit tighter, 41.55 to the upside, and then 39.86 if we kind of bring in those levels. So those price regions to me are still areas to target. If you're doing anything that's going to be like a volatility based spread, I would definitely have a lot of my targeted risk at those particular levels. And I would also be focused on the fact that there's two components to the particular event that we're about to hit. So as we all know, there's the actual FOMC, which, get this up here on trading terminal. Okay, so it's delineated as the Fed interest rate decision. It's just that announcement of what the actual rate's going to be. The estimate, of course, is a 25-point rate hike. So barring a very low probability surprise, I would say that for the most part, I would be looking for that to be true. And I do expect there to be a little bit of some optimism. It's one of the first times we've seen such a low rate hike decision since last year, since we started this more aggressive rate hike cycle from last year. And if we're looking at previous rate hike cycles or just rate hike decisions, they've always been significantly higher and somewhat more indecisive in the probability. There's always been a little bit of an edge in one of these decisions or one of these rate hike target rates, but there's always had a tail end, lower probability, and then sometimes a higher probability, which kept the market kind of on its toes, because even though it's low probability, it could happen. And, pricing that in, kind of taking the bet for those types of events are opportunistic if you're correct. For today, I think, once again, the probability is pretty much in the camp of 25 points. What that means is most of the decision and most of the price volatility will probably fall more in the press conference. And whenever we talk characteristics or some of the hawkish / dovish behavior of a federal chair person, we often want to kind of think about what that means in regards to how they're speaking. For a slightly hawkish stance, we would want to see things like interest rates are still being used to curb inflation. We'd want to hear that while things are data driven for the most part, they're seeing a little bit of inflation rebound in certain industries and sectors. Housing, there's a little bit of higher and stickier inflation inside of food. That's not quite as important to the Fed's sort of metrics as people think. And then overall, what are they looking to continue to fight? The labor market continues to be one where we're not really at some of the benchmark and expectations that were laid out through last year's federal chair statements or federal FOMC statements. Those metrics not being hit yet could keep this particular body quite hawkish. And if we hear that tone in the press conference, I would expect there to be some downside reaction to it. That's really what a bearish participant in this market is betting on. Unfortunately, they don't have, at least from a probability perspective, they don't have the idea that this is going to be a 50-point rate hike. If it is, then yes, all out bearish, and it's going to be a big surprise. But I think the press conference is what they're leaning on. They're leaning on the idea that there's still a very hawkish tone and an impact to some of the data we've received that needs to be fought. You know, the fact that the labor market is not quite where they expect it to be. The more nimble approach, this would be somewhere between a dove and a hawk. We'll call it maybe a swallow perspective, but that's a weird way to say it. Somewhere in between dove and hawk would be nimble. This is where we probably hear a lot of data-driven talk, where wait and see is kind of the answer to some of the questions. And the wait and see approach allows the market to start to speculate. It allows a little bit more pricing in of different probabilities moving forward. And we would be looking at a market that, once again, continues to be sensitive to all of these data driven events. You know, anything that would indicate that one side or the other is winning, especially on the labor market side, those would be the events where we see sharp sells or sharp buys in the market. Usually those really big days where there's only one direction to play. That approach, to me, might mean that today's actual trade is a little bit uneventful, because once again, if we see a sharp or just a move higher from a 25-point rate hike, and then we see more of a nimble approach, we could kind of pull back using that information. And once again, flattish to maybe sort of hard to read market price activity, and a little bit underwhelming, because for the most part, this has kind of been an overhyped event for today. And then, of course, the most bullish sort of scenario is a rate hike as expected, but once again, a dovish Fed head. In having that dovish nature, I'd want to be hearing things like some of the, I wouldn't want to hear things like soft landing, to be frank. I'd want to start hearing things that are still data driven, but a lot of objectives being met, starting to see the end of the road for what their rate hike cycle was intended for, and then discussing some of the projections for anything that's remaining. You know, once again, not necessarily removing themselves from the data-driven approach, but having timelines and seeing how mid-year might be an area where they're going to stop their rate hike cycle. You know, cutting rates is a different story, but as of now, the market projection is that by mid-year, we shouldn't be seeing any more rate hikes coming from this governing body. So those are kind of the three scenarios that I'd be looking for. I've got a couple of questions, but a few of them I've already answered, so I'm going to kind of cut through them real quick. Selling in the money, puts expiring later this year. Feel free to, if if that's kind of your objective. There are some areas where if you haven't really bought into the market yet, but you expect more upside, I wouldn't necessarily say in the money, but at a price that you're willing to basically pay for the shares, because there's still the potential that you get assigned. So, if there are some stocks that are kind of on discount, selling puts, especially cash secured, is a great way to start to potentially accumulate a position. And of course, if the market continues without you, at least you collect some premium along the way. How do you anticipate the SPY will act leading up to 2 p.m.? This is kind of the linchpin of today. Normally, we've seen intraday trade leading up to the FOMC not necessarily being the most advantageous for directional traders. Can the market move around? Absolutely. But is it going to be a clear trend? My argument is that because we're opening essentially at the same price as last week's close, there's very little intention for the market to have to move around before the event. Most market participants are either hedged, they have their, speculative play, they've moved their position around to where they're not necessarily at, full risk of either direction. It's one of those opens where I just wouldn't necessarily be too aggressive, and I'd play price action, but I also expect price action to be indecisive. Maybe some overlap kind of trade, especially in the morning. And then ultimately, if we do get some sort of clear breakout and trend, I'd probably play it for like one extension. So that's how I would play it. I might be wrong. It really depends on what the market wants to do. But if we look at yesterday, this is kind of what I'd be looking for. And I'll kind of bring it to a 5-minute chart, because you notice how yesterday trended, but don't ignore how the morning was. There was an hour of what's known as initial balance. It's the first hour, or sometimes it's the first 30 minutes, but it's usually the first hour of trade is stuck. And, you could say that yesterday was a great long, but you had to avoid getting killed in this hour. What really you wanted to do was see this kind of signal going all the way from the low to the high in one impulsive move, getting outside, and then having that back test. That kind of tells you that at least this decision's being attempted and there is a trend here. How far do I want to take that? Kind of depends on what your objective is. To me, I like to look for doubles on ranges, so that needs to be good. And in this case, as we trended, there's probably 3 or 4 double ranges in this trend. So, once you start trending, then you can just look for pullbacks. What I'm thinking today is that if trade looks anything like this for the first hour, it could also look like this for another hour. And then by lunchtime, I just don't expect there to be any volume to get us out of this region, even if there's maybe some moves that take place in between, which of course means that I'd probably want to find something that's in play. Anything that's had earnings would be worthwhile looking at. AMD would be a nice kind of balance to finding something that could move. I'm still looking for 80 to be hit by the end of this week. 80 is kind of where all the open interest is. I don't know if it's going to be today, but until 80 is met, I'm basically trusting the bulls will keep pushing. And 80 kind of brings you to the 200, which makes sense. A lot of stocks are hitting it these days. I'd also play Meta. Meta has hit the 200. It's starting to fade off, and it had a negative reaction to Snap. So if we can see a little bit more of a signal below 2 days low, that could indicate a little bit more downside. And similar to this day, this was, $4 or $5 candle. We'd have to find a way to play that. But to me, Meta is still overextended. I wouldn't be a buyer here, so I'm probably looking for consolidation through price downside. Um, and then, there's a couple names that are really crazy today. I'm not going to necessarily advise them here, but there's definitely stuff moving. I just want to make sure that we temper expectations for the S&P. Most of the time, it's not necessarily a directional day. Yesterday was a directional day. It took an hour to get out, but once it did, it only had one direction, up. So these are kind of the things I'd be looking for today, and just remember what the targets are. SPX, expected move. If you're technical, a bull wants to get over the pivots. I mean, there's really no other objective at this point. If you're a bull in this market, you have one thing left to do, and it's to clear these highs. Because what that does is it puts every bearish position since September of last year, puts every bearish position underwater. Anyone who's still bearish in the market is now wrong. That's what you want to do as a bull. If you're a bear, you want to end the trend. You want today's event to basically kill this trend. And as you saw yesterday, one thing that's been hurting a lot of people is not really expecting the amount of movement that this market is doing, which means they're disrespecting this channel. And I've seen it enough to where I'm kind of being a little bit more frank about it. This channel defines the risk. If you can't tolerate a move to the upside, even though we didn't get to the top of the channel yesterday, you're technically not putting your stop in a region that's protected. So this is what price is doing. We have to respect that until it changes. And a bear wants to basically form a lower high and not get taken out at the top. The fact that the channel is still intact means we could still rally higher. But these channel moves and yesterday's gap down, I think, surprised a lot of people because we saw the rally start in pre-market, it held in the morning, and then it started breaking out. And the idea was like, there's no way this thing can go X amount. And then at the end of the day, it did. At the end of the day, it was the strongest rally of the whole day. It was the biggest push. That's usually when people are like, well, shoot, I'm wrong. They're bearish all day, and then they give up. So don't underestimate the market's ability to move, but use technicals to get a sense of how far. Like, movement is one thing, expectations better. You can be bullish, conservative, bullish, going for the whole shebang. Just don't be the wrong direction at the wrong time. If the channel's not broken, it's not going down. So we've seen enough of that to kind of understand that, like, not only is this an uptrend, but it's a channel. Respect the channel until it breaks. So these are kind of the notes for today. As always, trade safe. We have plenty of earnings coming out this afternoon and tomorrow, so plenty of more volatility to expect. Those are going to be the mega market caps to be on the lookout for. But as for today, game plan is to kind of wait and see what the release is. Look for press conference tone, and also think about expected move, because even today the S&P is pricing about a $4 move. So plus or minus $4 for the whole day. That's plenty of volatility, but most of that should be on the reaction, on the announcement. So trade safe, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you had a great day yesterday. Um, Guys, welcome. Good morning, Norm. Hope you're doing well. Wait, I can't hear you.
Good morning, brother.
Oh, there you go. I got you. Good morning, my friend.
Sorry, I had all kinds of audio going on when I was trying to come on, so I am
Oh,
here.
no worries,
Morning.
my
Hope you're doing
friend.
well.
Doing good, man. Doing good. We had a little bit of snow for the first time, I think this winter, really, that kind of stuck overnight. Very,
We
very
got an
small
inch of
amount.
ice on the ground.
Well, that's more epic than what's
School's been
happening over
closed for
here.
2 days. Huh?
That's more epic than what's happening over here. Oh
Yeah, it's
man.
cold, man.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so that's interesting. And yeah, other than that, man, things are good. All right, guys, let's get to some of the stuff we had yesterday on deck. Let's hop over to our list here, and we're gonna start with MU. So if we look at MU this morning, not doing a whole lot right now, but yesterday they had a nice gap down. Not a whole lot of volume, but I did like the gap down, so I kept it on my list. And they just didn't trade very well. And I won't beat them up too much because we know they have not been the same ticker in a while. Just a lot of things were not great, right? Not what we see in the last couple of weeks, where we're kind of getting spoiled a little bit with the great trading that we're getting. But here, MU just didn't look all that exciting. Things did get better for many tickers after 11, some of them even after an hour. They got going, but again, just overall sideways action, and a lot of it is because of this guy right here, the spy, right? Just a lot of sideways action. It did trend higher, but it was a slow trending a stock or price action yesterday on the overall market. So it wasn't what we're used to seeing, these breakouts, these explosive breakouts that give you an insane continuation, pullbacks, it was just kind of grinding nicely here. Nothing really over the top. Tesla, first hour or so, a little bit tough. Then eventually it does break out here. But again, sideways, right? Not the Tesla that we see in the last couple of days, but nevertheless, if you were timing this and playing off the VWAP, you would have gotten some opportunities, guys. I mean, the high of day breakout coming up here. I mean, you can see that nice a wedge forming there, and just the breakout will be kind of very predictable in that situation. So that was Tesla yesterday. Here is Amazon. Amazon actually not bad, guys. I actually took a long here, got in a little too early, so I had to survive this. Uh, Not aggressive pullback, but should have waited for the pullback at first actually. But we did get a breakout here, so we did get a breakout. Some partials on the way up. It did come back below the BUS. That's not a good sign. So I was out there, but you can see here it does recover. It goes back up to the high of the day, and then like many tickers, just a lot of sideways action there. Here was Nvidia. Nvidia, below the VWAP actually gave you a nice play there. Nice V reversal. Very difficult strategy to trade. I know some traders do that very well. Hits the VWAP, hits the high of the day, and then gives you a little bit extra before some sideways action there. AMD, on the other hand, actually not that bad. We've seen better, but not that bad. They give you a breakout here.
Don't tell Peter.
Those, I'm sorry.
Don't tell Peter you've seen better.
We definitely seen better. And as much as Peter watches this stock, I hope he's seen much, much better than this. But yeah, same song and dance, guys. A lot of sideways action later parts of the day. Expecting, more earnings to continue today. Look at Apple, just nasty. Every candle overlapping the previous candle. Depending on your trading style, the way I trade, this will kill me all day long, right? I need the breakouts and continuation. This back and forth action it just will stop me out the way I trade. But if you're scalping, right? If you're scalping and getting in good opportunities, this could be nice to deal with. So it depends on your trading style as well. But definitely not the cleanest and greatest day yesterday. This morning's gappers list. Let's hop over there. We have a couple of things in the green. Let's get this out of the way here. Here we go. So a couple of things in the green. I see a lot of Chinese tickers, man, in the green this morning. 8, 6, 4%. So we'll get into what's going on there. MS, is this right? GM up another 200% today. Price of
Yeah.
wait, what? We'll look at that in a second. And then we have Snap, EA, and some other ones that are reporting. Meta, I know reports today after the close. That'll be exciting. So again, it's just a lot going on. And Norm, I think we also got some numbers and some, not numbers, but information coming out today as well. Let's hop on over there.
We've got a lot of stuff going on. We had ADP employment come in this morning, which was lighter than expected by a pretty decent amount. So we've heard some. We've heard and seen some things, some cracks in the labor market, layoffs primarily at large tech firms. Of course, that's what you hear more of than anything else. ADP came in weaker than expected. 9:45, we've got the S&P Manufacturing Index. We've got JOLTS, which is a labor survey at 10 a.m. Construction spending at 10 a.m. as well. And then the big one, 2 p.m. today, the FOMC rate decision, largely predicted to be 0.25% rate hike, which is starting to slow down. I won't get too much into that. Jared spoke a great deal about it. So we'll see what happens there. Followed, of course, by the Jay Powell press conference. Man, my typing this morning was quite weak. Press, I guess there's a snake involved conference at 2:30. Motor vehicle sales will be scattered in as we've turned the page on January already. Somehow, some way, we're already a month into this year, and so motor vehicle sales from the various manufacturers will be sprinkled in throughout the next couple of days. Yeah, so these days can be tough, even though it's very unlikely that anything other than the anticipated 0.25 point hike will be coming today. We'll probably have a little bit of things to trade, volatility toward the open, and then slow down and get kind of stagnant toward midday, waiting for that. So in the room and YouTube, if you have any other ideas of what you might see, throw it out there. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Yeah, absolutely. Normal. I was going to say that your fingers, probably with the typing, were not warmed up, probably cold this morning.
Freezing. No, it's freezing, man.
What is the temperatures down there? What are you guys
24.
getting? 24. Yeah, 24. You start feeling it pretty good.
For me, for
us, that's like feels like negative 30.
Yeah, got an inch of ice on the ground, as I mentioned. Like not snow, just ice. Supposed to get another half inch of freezing rain today, so
not fun,
hopefully the power stays on.
Not fun. Again, it's just not built for that down there, so I get it 100%. All right, let's go ahead and get our watch list in here, guys. Let's go ahead and remove this. Control A, Control X is going to remove this list, and let's see what we have today. We have a lot going on here, and look at this thing. MSGM this morning up 203%. So this thing is just cranking, guys. Volume 3 million. Gotta be, I mean, this for me is entertainment purposes. I like to watch stuff like this, don't get me wrong, but I would never touch something like this because this is a great way to blow up a couple of thousands very, very quickly on a stock like this, depending on the number of shares you take, of course. But a stock that can drop $5, it's just really entertainment purposes. So it's fun to watch. I'm definitely going to put it on here. We'll see how that is looking a little bit later. Maybe going to get to a couple of halts. There's no halts in the pre-market for volatility. So again, very, very careful. But yeah, man, it's just madness on this thing. Just a day ago, this thing was sitting at $3? At $3.54. Incredible.
Yeah, there was news of them gaining compliance to stay listed yesterday. Of course, we had some corporate action the day before that popped it up, and then regaining compliance late yesterday, largely due to their price increasing. So, not really what I'm into. Very low float. Be careful.
It's just gambling at its best, guys. And even here, this gambling is not fun. All right, let's take a look at what else we have. We have EDBL this morning, another low float at 176K. Now, this low float at the moment, not doing a whole lot. The volume is not worth our time right now. If it gets better, maybe for a low flow opportunity, but just right now it doesn't have the volume. 144 is just not enough. Here is Baidu. Now Baidu is capping out. This is interesting. Baidu is capping out 7.7, and with that, there's tons of Chinese tickers capping up here. We have Li, we have XBEV, we have Billy, all up nicely within that 3 to 6%. I don't see Baba. Very interesting. I don't see Baba on here. How come? So yeah, they are gapping up just right below 2%. But the volume looking really good. So I'm going to put that on my list here. Bob is definitely one I'm going to be looking at. But Baidu, I know many people like Baidu. I don't trade it very much, or I don't trade it at all. But I know this is one that many of you guys like to trade. So I am going to put it on a secondary list so we know it's there. It looks to be in play today, guys. We are getting some action. Norm, it looks like a lot of overseas Chinese tickers popping today. Any overall news this morning?
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, obviously we've had the COVID stuff going on over there after they lifted the zero COVID policy. That seems to be slowing down a little bit. And then the government also trying to spur economic activity. So those two things were it's same old that we've been talking about the last couple of months, up and down with regulatory action and COVID in China.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, just looking really good there on some of these. I like Baba and Baidu. It looks good, but we have to see. We definitely got to get more volume on it and more activity. XM this morning, they are up 7.2. Pretty light, 271,000. Does not trade very well. Had a gap up a couple of days ago, looking to keep going here, but the volume since then has died down drastically. So even with this gap up, there's no excitement there at the moment. Piton this morning must be earnings because we don't hear from Piton anymore. Yes, it is earnings today, pre-market. So Piton here getting a nice little pop. Man, this is a hit or miss. This thing has been beat up quite a bit, as you guys know. Even just most recently, look at the drop here from 13 down to 7, recovering back up to 13 just in January. I mean, this all in January here, these crazy moves. So not sure how the earnings were, Norm. Looks like the market
suck as bad as people thought.
They sucked less than they thought. Yeah, that's a good sign. So here they are, guys, gapping up a little bit, 6% this morning. It really is a hit or miss type stock. I'm not sure. On the fence for now. Like the volume, like the pop up. I just don't know how well they're going to trade. We'll come back to that. Lee. So we looked at all the Chinese tickers, I believe, or at least most of them. I have Baba and Baidu for now. If any other one starts to get volume, like a Neo, like a XBEV, we can look at those. Bailey also very light on volume for the most part. They just don't have a lot going on. New We here is up 5.4. Not a great daily. Horrible pre-market activity right now. I don't see anything great on it, so I'm going to skip on it. Also low flow. So definitely once you put that in there, a very, very horrible stock because you want to see more volume than just 491 at the moment. I'm sorry, 134 at the moment. GNS, this is the stuff that keeps coming up on our list. It's no good. AI is what is AI? Is this any kind of ETF or something? No. What is this?
No. AI. It's an AI company.
Okay, man, they're cranking. So
yeah, they've been on fire.
Yeah, from 11 over to 21 this morning. Not a low flow ticker, 86 million. This could be interesting. Let's see. It doesn't trade very well, it looks like, as far as the daily here. Besides this, since January has been just crazy. I like the volume. I like the gap up. Might be worth taking a look at this morning. Let's put it on here. Let's put that on deck. And then I think that covers our list. AMD making an appearance here at the moment. So AMD's up 3% today. The AMD report last night?
Yes, last night.
Yeah. So it looks like they're getting some positive reaction to their numbers this morning. Definitely going to be in play today. Already 2 million shares traded. Definitely throwing this on there. I like the daily as well on AMD right now. Trying to get above some areas of resistance here and here and here. Most recent, we had that as well, right above the most recent ones. So yeah, I like AMD this morning. So, all right, excellent. What's gapping down, guys? A lot to go through today. Here's what's gapping down. We have Snap. So Snap at the moment, 12.6, gap down, 5.9. Snap is one of the choppiest stocks that I know. I mean, this stock is just horrible. And as the price
It's
gets
pretty rough.
lower, the worse it gets, I think. Um, there was, I think there was a big breakout we had. Was it a 17? If you guys remember, we have fun with that. It was right over here, I believe.
You're getting called out by 3 people on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I agree with them that I
Mm-hmm.
think you accidentally put new we
Mm-hmm.
instead of AI on your list.
Where's AI?
Nui's
AI.
the low float.
Yes.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, we don't want Nui there. We want
Thank you.
AI. We want AI. Thank you, guys. All right. Glad to see that you guys are paying attention. That's a good sign. But yeah, AI is what we want here
We're
on
just
the list.
testing you.
Yeah, that was a test, and you guys passed. Excellent. Heading back to Snap. Yeah. So Snap at the moment, it's just I don't know, man. I'll wait for Meta or something much better. Snap reported too, right? Last night, yeah. So they're reacting to the
Yes.
reports last night. I'm gonna wait for something better, man. I don't like Snap at all. EA this morning.
They reported
Wow,
last night as
man,
well.
getting crushed today, down 10%. We traded them before on news. I don't recall if it
Yeah,
was
they
earnings.
can trade very thin. If you look right
Yeah.
now, $117 ticker, your spread is 36 cents, which is fairly wide. Just be careful because it doesn't get a ton of volume.
Yeah. I like this gap down. I think it might be worth seeing how the market, the market open does, but it's definitely not a possible one because it could be tough. SYF this morning. I see this plenty of time on my list. I'm not a big fan of the way this thing moves. This is a financial, maybe a bank or something.
Yes, synchrony.
Okay, so yeah, so not a fan of this one. I'm gonna leave that alone. And then we have COSM down 4.5, 106,000. No, this is not looking great. And last one but not least, U on our list, Unity Software, which again pops up here and there. I never keep it on. It never looks good. So yeah, that's what we have so far. All right, guys, let's take it to you. Norm, what do you have on your end?
I'm still looking, man. This might be no trades today
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the Fed announcement. A lot of times we just get chop on these days. I've had a pretty couple of decent days going on. We've had a hell of a run in January. I think the market might take a bit of a breather. So we'll see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Want to be careful, guys. Protect those profits, especially if if you're doing well. You want to be defensive, right? It's good to be aggressive, but you got to know when you have to just step off the gas a little bit. And today could be one of those days. I don't see a whole lot that looks great here. We got a couple, but for the most part, not a blockbuster list. Although we have a lot on both sides of the field here, gap up and gap down. Let's go over to the room, guys. What do you guys have this morning? Ross, you're giving us VS small float PM runner. Man, this thing is cranking. 8.2. So yes, versus system penny stock breaking out here, guys. Again, if this is your style of trading, this is hot. This is in play. Definitely add it to your list. I won't be trading it, but add it to your list. This is something that you are into. Absolutely up 485%, and MSGM up 187%. So two that are just are cranking here. Snap looks horrible. Yeah, it is horrible. Snap is horrible. I'm telling you, they're on my list of Foot Locker. Who else is on that list? Foot Locker, Intel's on that list. I have a list of things that, even with news, they just, unless it's some crazy news, they just don't trade well, right? They don't intraday trade well. They could be good for other things. Swing trading, investing is a whole different animal. But for day trading, their price action could be a little bit funky. Bridget, we did look at Piton. And the thing with Piton is just, I have it here as a possible. They got some good volume, but it could be a hit or miss. This thing can be extremely choppy at times. So we'll see. I have it here as a possible. Listen, if I stay with only 3, I will move Piton up, right? Just to have it on one of my charts. But I'm hoping that once we go to the chat room here, we can find some more tickers. NVIDIA. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. It's not doing a whole lot. Pretty much flat at the moment as far as gapping up or down. And even their volume is pretty quiet right now. Now, I expect this one to get going, especially if the SPY or the Q start trending. Other than that, I don't see anything that's sticking out on this one to add on the list. Um, Carlos, no, my first day trading live seems like a bad
Yeah.
day to trade. So hopefully I won't trade anything just for fun. When should I start researching nearby Lambo dealerships, by the way? Very nice. Listen, man, congrats that you have gone through your training period and that you're getting ready to go live. Today could be a tough day. So, just sit and
Just
watch.
realize that,
Yeah.
and then especially after we get past the first hour and a half hour, it could slow down
Mhm.
very much.
Yeah. So, don't feel the pressure to get started today. February 1st, I get it. You can start Monday. You can start the following week. Start whenever you're ready. No pressure. But today overall, right now, does not seem like a great day. Not just to start to trade, period. So, nevertheless, to start trading. BZFD. Let's take a look there. Then we'll look at some more over here. BZFD. Um, you don't have an explosive chart right here. We got great volume, 3.7, but it doesn't seem explosive to me. Like you see these other ones that are really pushing higher. So I don't know, more of a penny stock, very similar to VS, kind of breaking out, except VS is doing it in some really nice fashion over here with some great volume. So be careful on that one. I think I have many entertainment type low flow stocks already for me on this list. One up 195 and the other one for 430 percent, 430%. LAC, let's take a look at that one. We saw this yesterday. This is the one that GM is investing in, right? I think they're buying
Yeah, it's a
some
lithium
batteries.
company.
Yeah. So yeah, had a great day yesterday. It looks like today they're gapping up 1.7, not a whole lot of volume. So you'll have to wait for the market open on this one. Uh, it does not seem like a great day trading ticker, right? Just based on the volume you're getting, 14 million. So it's something you have to really take a look at closely, especially at the market open, if it's worth taking a stab at this. All right, here it is. Tesla dropping from 175, had a nice big drop down to 174 right now. This will be on my list, of course. Yeah, I mean, Tesla is on our list every day. 4 million already. Was up nicely up to 176, coming back down here, quite aggressive. Spies not dropping as hard like that, but Tesla getting a little pullback, or not a little, big pullback at the moment. Tesla is good. AMD we have on deck. Amazon. Let's take a look. These are all our usual suspects we're getting into now, guys. Let's see what we got here for Amazon. Is it selling off as well? All right, so something is brewing here, selling off a couple of
Yeah, market's
tickers.
turning down a little
Yeah.
bit. Not a big deal.
Yeah, so some stuff selling down now. Again, this is what we want to see at the market open, man. Just to spy either selling up or down aggressively, and we're going to get opportunities, which is what's so great about this market now. Just the volatility has been amazing. You just gotta wait. You just gotta wait for it. Don't waste all your ammo on sideways action. Wait for things to move and trend, and then jump on the boat and get off the boat before it crashes. Right, just as simple as that. Here it is, NVIDIA looking good. So I have that on my list. Yeah, I have put as a possible here for NVIDIA, especially if we start dropping down. Amazon, I do like. We'll add Amazon to our list. What else, guys? AMD, NVIDIA, AMD, DPRO. What we got going on here? No, more of a penny stock. And last one here from Fabio. Then we'll go over to community event and announcement. What's coming up for the rest of this week? XOM, guys. Yeah, this is ExxonMobil. Yeah, you can watch this. You're not gonna get a whole lot in the pre-market. Market open will tell you a bit more. It just depends on this overall sector is reacting. So, XOM, I know many traders that like to trade this one. Had a great day yesterday. Could be fun today, but again, the pre-market you're not gonna get a whole lot of activity as it normally doesn't give you a whole lot there. Okay. All right, guys, let's get to community events and announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list. We got a few things we can go over.
All right. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, you've got onboarding and technology with Carlos. Be sure to check that out, especially for new traders. It is open to all membership categories. Tuesday, we have psychology. Last night, we had Megan. That recording should be up soon. And then next week, Brian's going to be talking about his market open strategies. That's at 8 p.m. next Tuesday. Wednesdays, we have psychology. Dr. Kenneth Reed tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, going to be talking about the book, The Best Loser Wins. You still have time to get that as an audio book, played at 3 times speed and catch up if you'd like to. So if you don't feel like today's a good day to trade, maybe you can do that and catch Dr. Reed's webinar this evening. Creda will be speaking at 5 p.m. next week, talking about identifying your deepest fears in trading. Be awesome to have Creda back again. Thursday is for mentorship at John with 11. No, with John at 11. Let's fix that. And then 8 p.m. with Thor Thursday night. TradingTerminal.com is where we are building out a one-stop shop for tools for the active trader, many of which traders spend thousands of dollars a year on. Those include the replay simulator, scanners, everything else. The newest piece is the Insider, which you've got monitors of retail trading, politicians trading, and also big funds. You can see up there at the top, that is the retail part of it, where it has a word cloud for Wall Street Bets and Reddit. Larger the word, the more it's mentioned. The colors are determined by sentiment. So be sure to check out tradingterminal.com when you have a chance, if you haven't already. Live Trading Summit, San Diego, March 2nd and 3rd, guys. It's creeping up. Hard to believe it's a month from tomorrow this thing starts. 2-day trading event, live trading. We're going to have all kinds of conversations about different strategies. We even have entertainment on the first night with dinner. So, and like I said, live trading. We're going to have panel discussions. It's going to be fantastic. Florida was a blast, so can't wait to see everybody there. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't been in the chat, use the promo code PreMarket34. It'll get you a discount off the intro membership, which is 1 week in the room, 7 calendar days, 5 trading days, does not renew. It is a one-time payment just to see if it's a good fit for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Norm. Okay, cool, guys. Let's get into our list this morning. So we have here, we have Baba, we have AI, we have AMD, Tesla, and Amazon, all dropping, not dropping, pulling back a little bit here with the overall market. And then some possibles, Piton with earnings last night, I believe, or this morning. Baidu, they're gapping up pretty nice. A couple of Chinese tickers doing well today. And the EA could be again could be a hit or miss, but I do like this big drop they had this morning, 9%, 172,000 shares traded. So that's looking fun there. Let's do some levels for the stuff we have here, and we'll get to see if anything else pops up. If you see something on your end that you like, throw it out to us, and we'll have time to get to it. Right now, so here's Baba this morning, low of the pre-market. We're looking at 111.62. So this is right about here. Let's slam a level right there. Towards the top, we're looking at 112.30. So that's good there. And once you, wait, did I mark down the low of the pre-market? Here it is, low of the pre-market. There we go. Once you mark those two down, high and low, I mean, you're surrounded by the last 2 trading days action, right? Pretty much on here. We had a nice gap down on a Monday, right? A Monday, you see that gap down there. A little bit more drop on yesterday, and today kind of bouncing back a little bit. So let's see. Baba, as you guys know, has been extremely strong. Just China has been beat up quite a bit, and a lot of these tickers have been bouncing back pretty nicely. Here is a level, just one more level towards the top, just in case we can get something going here. 114.17. That is a good one there for us. Here's AI. AI at the moment, guys, up 3%, 926,000 shares traded. This thing is just on fire. Has been the last couple of days. Spread not bad, man. 3 cents for the way this thing is moving. That's decent. We will definitely take that. So we do have shares for sure with Interactive Brokers, so that is nice. Yeah, really like this one, guys. Be careful. Although it's not a low float stock, it can move quite a bit here, as we've seen over the last couple of days. So like that one. As far as levels, we got right where the price action is. I actually want to mark this down because if you look closely here, this 2042 looks decent. So a lot of touches there just in the pre-market alone, and then the low of the pre-market is pretty much the previous day close. Is a couple of cents below that. So I like that there. Triple D says AI has been very clean trader. Yeah, I can see here, man. I don't recall this hitting my scanners or watching it in the pre-market before. I think this is the first time I see it. So yeah, it looks like it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully the fun is not over. If it is, we can ride the fun down in a short. We will see. Let's see how this thing plays out here. But looking very active, guys, at the moment. And the last couple of days, we've seen I mean, this was non-existent, a huge increase in volume. So that is exciting there. High of the pre-market all the way above yesterday's high, sitting at 21.79 this morning. Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. Let's take a look here. AMD today, guys. So AMD after earnings, we are getting a nice little pop here. High of the pre-market 78.75. In the pre-market itself, you do see this area here where you have a lot of touches and opportunity there as far as support. So we're going to mark that there. That's going to be 77.52. Below that, you do have your highs and lows, which is the area we're breaking out of. We're breaking out of the 75. Is the high of that, and the low is around 71.16. So again, just some very weird back and forth action here. And if you notice closely, we just kept gapping down and then pushing up. Every time we gap down, we pushed up, we pushed up. So that's a very strong sign there, man. AMD does not want to sell off this 72 on every gap down here. Besides, I think just one gap down is sold off within this range. The rest were all up. They're all quickly back against the 75. So breaking out of that 75 at the moment now looks good. And then if we mark a level here towards the bottom, it's going to be 76.42. Got a couple of days opening, closing, some stuff bouncing off of that as well. And very close to your pre-market low, but I like 76.42 much better. So that's AMD, guys. If we were to push higher above the 78.75, which is your high of your pre-market at the moment, let's head over to the left here, over to September, October time frame. We do have a couple of stuff on here. I'm going to mark down 83.42. Looks good. And then you have a minor area of support and resistance right at 81. So 81 looks decent for some stuff there. Okay, excellent. Let's go to our stock of, is this stock of the month, last month for sure, the stock of December. I mean, this is the MVP for a very long time now, is Tesla. So Tesla already 6.2 million shares traded. Low of the pre-market, we're looking at 172.48. So we'll put a level right on there. Good activity happening now. You can see the volume increasing. We're getting some good volatility at the moment. And right after this drop here, which is being caused by the overall market, but we know how Tesla loves to react and is doing just that. Tesla is doing Tesla things here. 176.62, high of the pre-market. Even in here, right here, right, this breakdown looks interesting. Maybe a minor area of a support breakdown, 175, right? So we'll throw a level there. I know this looks very packed, guys, but once you start looking under the hood, we're moving from 172 to 176. It's a $4 move with a couple of areas where you're seeing support and resistance. It is worth marking down. Now, if we were to break out of the highs, you do have 180 towards the top from the last 2 trading days. It's slamming right on that level. We'll see if the last 3 trading days, excuse me, we'll see if we can break out of this area we're in right now. And then last but not least, we have Amazon on the list, and Amazon's daily, guys. If you look at it, has been very nice, right? We had this push up here, went sideways for a bit, again pushed up higher after a nice gap down. So we gapped down and we just kind of ignited this move here to the next range, right? And we've been getting higher lows here on the daily. So it is just prime if the market does want to do something positive here. I think Amazon could be very exciting. And the few market opens that we've seen on Amazon as well have been pretty clean. So they are a great intraday trading stock when things are trending. High of the pre-market 103.71. We'll mark that down. And then heading over to the left, we got the gap down that happened back in November. We're going to be at 105.40 is the next level I see on the daily. So pretty nice there, pretty clean. Like the activity we're getting now. Let's take a quick peek at what the overall market is doing. We're getting a little bit of a pullback at the moment. And the Qs, I assume, are doing the exact same thing. Yep. So that is causing some of these tickers to be down a little bit. everything in my list still green, 1.6, 2.9, 3.5. Just Amazon barely red this morning, but everything's still in the green here. Let's see if the Qs and the SPY can push up higher. Okay, excellent. And then secondary list, I got Piton, Baidu, EA, and also NVIDIA this morning. Let's see here. Well, all right. What else you guys like? Anything else that we might have missed? Let's see over on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining on YouTube every day. I appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up. It does help us out a ton as we grow this channel. Yeah, so definitely do that. Sitting at 126 likes. Oh, there we go, 133. And I would love to see that over 200. 200 is our goal. So it does help. Thank you. All right, we got some moderators coming in with their list. So that is good. We got Thor, Eamon, Mike, and Susan. So we'll see what's happening there. I saw you guys mention Meta. Meta reports today after the close. I don't have them on my list now. They could trade well because Meta is one of the tickers that
Yeah, I actually took a trade on them after hours yesterday. Just a little scalp. Snap reported earnings. I traded a little bit of a sympathy play on it. So
I do see I do see Snap reported. Again, not a great ticker, but this is gonna be a whole different ball game for Meta. So today. So we'll see.
Meta had a nice little drop in sympathy when Snap reported bad.
Yeah. So I mean, pre-market looks okay, guys. Looks okay. I like the daily on Meta. I really do. So I think even today, even though they're not haven't reported yet, I think even today they could be a good possible, right?
They've been trading well overall too.
Yeah, they have been. They have been very, very clean. It's all January really. They have been extremely clean. So, and the recovery they had from 88 now at 147, looking pretty good. All right, guys. So we're starting something new here. As we always try to improve the show and bring you more information, we are going to start bringing you, not every day, but when we see something that makes sense, we're going to start bringing you to the feature IPO of the day. Right. So today, guys, we do have a feature IPO that is going to be LICN, Linchin China Limited. So this IPO is going public. IPO price of $4. And they're going to be offering 4.5 million shares, right? So that is what they're trying to offer. And they're trying to increase the deal size of 18 million. So tax company over in China, guys, as you know, the China market has been quite beat up, which is, a great time if you want to invest in anything overseas, if you want to add it to your portfolio. It's a great time to do that because once you're so low as you are now, hopefully the only way is up, right? So if you're interested in that, definitely look this out. By the way, nothing on here is private or inside information. This is all public information that we have found on the internet. So nothing here is anything that's not that's proprietary or anything like that. So these guys they're a leading financial taxation service. If we know anything about taxes, we know that's a business that's never going to go away. And you're in business for 17 years. And you can see some of the awards and recognition on here. So again, I really like this feature, guys. We might even have Peter come in, and Peter's the IPO man. We might even have him come in and announce these as we do get key features for IPOs. There's also a great webinar by Peter on how to trade IPOs, guys. So definitely check that over in our education center as well. But yeah, guys, Linchin China, a lot of great information on here. All the financials are available online. You can see here year to year from 2020 to 2021, they have definitely seen an increase in revenue and profits and gross profit as well. So a lot happening for them. And we look forward to seeing them IPO. So will be exciting. So if you're looking to expand your portfolio, if you're looking to add something a little bit different, do your research on this company here. Could be a good one for you. So with that said, guys, let's get over to our moderators list and see what we have going on there. Right now, I see we have a couple. So let me bring this over. I'm going to disable our video and bring our moderators.
Should open that IPO should open about usually between 10:30ish Eastern time.
Yeah. Usually when they open up. And if Peter's around, Peter will definitely give you a heads up when it's opening up. So again, guys, that is ILCN. LICN, excuse me. LICN. Peter's always around. Yes, he is. All right, guys, let's bring over our list over here. So here's our moderators list, guys, and let's go through this. Here we go. So we got Thor, Tesla, AMD, MO, MTCH, the SPY, and the Qs. Eamon's looking at potential longs, Apple, MU on his list. Mike, Tesla, AMD, and Apple. Susan will be looking at AMD, Tesla, and Netflix. And then Brian will be looking at AMD, Tesla, Snap, and LI on his list. All right, that is what we have so far, guys. We're going to be handing it over to Brian when he's ready. When he gets on the mic, we'll hand it over to him. Guys, thank you so much over on YouTube for joining us. But don't leave. Stick around because Brian is going to hop on the mic and give you his insights on what he likes this morning for his list. So stick around for that as we prepare for the market open. Paris coming in with his list: Tesla, AMD, Piton, Amazon, Apple on there. All right. Good morning, Brian. I saw your mic come on.
We are before Brian comes on real
Yep.
quick. We did have Nutty Traders ask about reviewing our trades we took the previous day. You do that in a sense going through the list you had from the previous day. It's very early in the show. I don't know if you tune in later. We really, I mean, we share our trades in the room, but we really don't have time to talk through individual trades that we've taken the previous day. It doesn't really add to the purpose of the show. But my only point was we do discuss what we were watching and sometimes mention what trades we took, in that early part of the show right at about 8 a.m. Eastern. So
what you could do as well, follow us on Twitter. Most times we put our trades there as well. Follow at Bearable Traders, follow Norm BBT, Carlos M at BBT, and you'll find our trades there. We post some stuff there. Okay, and our YouTube channel as well. Of course, there's tons of recaps there also. All right, excellent, guys. With that said, over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Stick around for Brian coming up next, and he'll go over his list, which is kind of tight today. AMD, Tesla, Snap, and Lee, just 4. I wonder if he's going to be adding any more to that. So stay tuned.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.
And yeah, some interesting stuff happening. AMD, good numbers last night. Not a huge reaction, but we've run up a lot into these numbers, which some I was mentioning. We've made a pretty big move in the markets. Like if you look at stocks like Meta or AMD, NVIDIA, all had really big moves. So what is going on with MSGM? Jeez. Yeah, I was very curious to hear all Megan's talk last night. Really good talk. She knows so much about health and nutrition. I mean, she's just a wealth of information on that. And yeah, so it was an interesting webinar last night. Really enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed it too, that watched it. So there's always mushrooms involved. Mushrooms have this network of roots called, I think it's called mycelium or something like that. They help, they travel through they're underneath the ground, and they help plants speak to each other or something. It's all very Oh, very cool. So for a laugh, I just took 200 shares of Edible Garden. I did it for Megan because I figured she'd that's her jam, as she would say. So it's unfortunately, I was thinking I should have put like a $15 or $16 limit order for the pre-market. I would have got filled on it. But anyway, it's up. Yeah, these things, the craziness is back. The meme stocks, but the challenge, of course, is usually when the meme stocks come back, that's usually sort of signals the end. Baidu's up quite a bit here. It's breaking out on a daily. Yeah, we were in the market, and Norm caught a nice trade on Meta. I traded Snap and quick in and out on Snap and quick in and out on AMD. Let's see here. The market's not doing not much right now. We're obviously, this is the Fed day, so we're going to hear from Powell later today. There'll be the rate hike announcement, 2:00, and then his commentary, which will probably be moving the market around a bit. So it could be quite volatile when he starts speaking. So just be aware of that. As the algos listen to what he says. I think over 90%, there's an over 90% sort of bet that it's going to be a quarter point rate hike. So I don't think there'll be any surprise there. I think it's probably, I don't know. You don't want to go into the trading day with any sort of preconceived notion about how the market's going to trade. I kind of think that there was a lot of put buying apparently on the Qs. So a lot of people getting a little bit nervous about what the Fed is going to say. But I would say, if I would bet it's not going to be, we're not going to see any big moves until after 2:00. Really erratic moves. NVIDIA is sort of creeping up here. What else? AMD is kind of creeping up. Tesla is always a good trader in the morning. NVIDIA's crept up to yesterday's high. NVIDIA looks really good here. At least it's looking strong right now. What do we got for earnings today? We had Piton this morning. Seemed to be okay. It's sort of gapping up here. We've got Meta after the close, and T-Mobile. So Meta, obviously, a bit of a sell-off yesterday, just because Snap said advertising is weak. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with. There's got to be some news with Lee. Let's just see if we can figure something out here. Okay. You're talking about Elon Musk said that the Chinese so their numbers were down, the deliveries were down. What's NEO doing? NEO's up just a fraction. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so I guess their delivery numbers were better than the others. So I'm just I'm trying to just see if there is anything else that's kind of interesting, that looks interesting as we get closer to the open. Baidu's up a lot. Yeah, I'm not too crazy about MS. You know, these. Oh wow, just took a drop. Problem with these crazy stocks is, ooh, just took a big drop. Problem with these crazy stocks is they after the first day, more and more people get involved, and they seem to get more and more erratic. So Snap kind of interesting. It's definitely catching a bid. Not really sure why. What is the short interest? Go back to the scanner. Short interest. It's 1 billion shares out. There's only 57 million. So it's not a huge short interest. So there won't be a big squeeze on it. Not really sure where I want to watch here. It looks like Baidu kind of looks interesting. AMD's moving now. AMD definitely is looking most interesting, breaking out on a daily 79.23. Kind of an area that I'd be watching. The 80 level, obviously a potential target. NVIDIA's moving as well. All right, well, we get 2 minutes to the open here, or less. NVIDIA and AMD look the most interesting, although I'm kind of would expect a bit of a pullback at the open. Wow, MSGM just literally fell out of bed. Can you imagine buying that at $60 like 5 minutes ago? And now it's trading at 25. All right, well, I guess we're going to drop off here on YouTube. So enjoy your morning, everybody. Trade safe, and we'll talk to you later if we haven't already dropped off. All right, so 10 minutes, 10 seconds to the open, and let's see where things go. AMD, NVIDIA, Tesla, probably my three go-to watches.